PlayStation, man, your situation is crazy. Get your popcorn, pull up a chair. We got to talk about PlayStation. We're going to talk about the aspects of them as games as a service, how they have extremely failed to do so, and maybe they pivoted a little too much, man. There's a lot of stuff to go in today's video. What's going on, you guys? Gaming Addict here, coming at you with another video. First off, I want to catch up to people on what's been going on up until now. So, PlayStation the past couple years, maybe not as much in the past 6 months to a year, they were really pushing games as a service to the point where they were redirecting some of the studios that made their games, those third person over the shoulder type of games like Last of Us, Uncharted, Ghost of Tsushima, Spider-Man. They actually pushed some of those studios to co-developing a games as a service along with their game. And for those of you that keep up with the industry, co-developing game is not easy and it's not cheap, and it takes a lot of resources. So that's what we've been at for a while. We've been seeing these games get canceled over and over again. Last of Us Factions, Spider-Man. They had some games as a service thing where you played as all the Spider-Mans. There was a lot of things that went into place that they have been shutting down dramatically. They pivoted so much to games as a service that they actually bought Bungie, the people that make Destiny. And one of the leading aspects of them buying this company was they wanted them to kind of consult on the other ones. They went so much into the games as a service, they felt like they had to buy one of the biggest games as a service in the industry just to consult with their other studios in terms of what they should be doing, how they should monetize. There's a lot of aspects when it comes to that. So that's where we are. You're caught up. Obviously, there's multiple videos on this channel talking about that, but let's get into the perspective of today's video. Now, one of the last havens left, Havens, this is Haven Studio, but one of the last things that is going out to talking about their games is their biggest game that they probably have going for their, it's essentially what's going on is there's a game right now called Fairgames. So Fairgames is one of the last bastions when it comes to PlayStation and their games as a service push. Now, they have been successful ones like Helldivers. They just released that on Xbox. It's pretty much everywhere, and I would say that is a good example of doing games as a service correctly. Part of the issue with the industry in general, and this is just a PlayStation, is everyone wants Fortnite money, but not everyone's got Fortnite products. Not everyone's got GTA products. So, they try to monetize games that you could argue shouldn't be monetized in the games as a service model, and some that could convert, they don't do it well enough. So, like I said, we got Haven Studios Fairgames. Now, Fairgames is supposed to be like the way I, saw it as like some kind of, cops and robbers kind of thing. So if you go here and you look at this, this is the last places that this individual has been working on. Keep in mind, he's been around for a while. He was the, one of the people, game director for Shadow of the Tomb Raider. He was associate game director for something that Ubisoft Montreal made. And then he was with game director of Haven Studio, who's with Haven, for 4 years and 6 months, which is kind of insane. And now it looks like he's been part of WB Games for the last 2 months. Now, if you go and you look at something like this perspective, does this mean anything in the grand scheme of things? I don't know. I think there's a lot of aspects that goes into this. I don't think it's just all the same blank sheet. I will say, in my personal opinion, how I've seen it is PlayStation has pivoted themselves into such a bad place financially because they spent so much money going into games and services. You guys don't Concord. They rumored to spend $400 million just on Concord. It's not to include the studio that made Concord. Gone. Made zero money back that because they refunded everyone. This Fairgames, losing a director. How much money have they put into the actual game itself? This Spider-Man, license it ain't cheap. I'm kind of curious if, even though the game didn't come out, how much money did that cost them as well? Marathon, they bought Destiny's developer Bungie. And even though I do feel that they can still gain a lot from that IP, a lot from the studio itself. What they originally bought them for is not what they're going to use them for going forward, because they aren't going 100% into the PlayStation service anymore. You know, we're seeing them like really push away from a lot of aspects. They're raising prices. And I think this has, maybe not everything to do with it, but this is definitely one of the things that have gotten them into the issue that they have currently. You know, that's one of the reasons that they probably didn't want Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard King, because they make so much money off of Call of Duty and it can offset a lot of these costs. And if you have a situation where maybe Microsoft and Xbox don't go so friendly, and maybe they use Call of Duty as a bargaining chip to make more money or something. So I think that was, one of the key reasons they wanted to stay away from that. Look, I'm going to be real with you guys. I've been very clear on this channel. PlayStation's not in a good place. Their growing pains is absolutely absurd. They have multiple live services that's already been delayed or reevaluated or just canceled in general. We just talked about a few of them a second ago. Just Concord by itself. Nothing else to do with any of the other games. Just Concord by itself is enough to make some companies go out of business. They had an executive or something there that said that they saw Concord as their Star Wars. Who said that? Because that person needs to be reevaluated. I don't understand. Maybe you guys can put in the comment section below. I don't understand how someone looked at Concord with, Marvel Rivals in the field and Overwatch. Now, obviously, are these games the same? No, there are different aspects of these games. Some are first person, some are third person, but a lot of the same audience is going to play similar games. And you have all these games, and I just don't understand for the life of me who looked at this on a spreadsheet or looked at gameplay, which is worse. Look at gameplay and say, that's it. And I think part of the issue we have in the industry right now, and I think PlayStation took a huge front of it, is you got too many people that are just analyzing numbers and not enough people that play games to be like, yo, that's not going to work. When you have so many of the past couple years of games that just did not perform well or just completely came out and kind of devaluated their own self. They self-imploded from comments that directors are saying on Twitter or X, however you want to say it, or just stupid comments in general. That's going to hurt the studio. And I do personally feel like we have a lot of people that is making games to make money, and they don't make money they don't make money by making games. And if that makes sense, you guys, it's pretty much like I said. There's used to be people where they were passionate about games. They wanted to jump in on the games. They loved gaming. And I don't feel like that is enough anymore. I feel like, especially since big money came into games and people just see it as dollar bills. And look, every corporation needs to make money. I don't think no one's ever going to deny that. Corporations have to make money to continue on what they're doing. But I do think there's a line. I think there's a huge line between just chasing a bag and making art that generates money. And if you guys don't know the difference, I don't know. I think the biggest question that we could debate on is, did PlayStation risk their whole identity just for chasing a live service? I would say yes. I would say corporate greed directly led to this. They saw the money Fortnite, they saw the money GTA, Roblox, all these big companies that make all of this money playing these games as a service. They saw that and they thought, we can get that too. And we've seen, just as well as everyone else, I'm sure, watching this video, not every studio is created equal. Not every brand is created equal. There's multiple aspects to just making the games as a service. You got to support that sucker from a variety of different perspectives. For instance, you got to make sure that, the outfits, the cosplay, you got to make sure everything goes with each other. You got to make sure the gameplay is good so people want to play the game. You got to make sure that whatever you're selling in terms of merchandise, in terms of, skins and stuff for the characters that you're playing as, that they make sense. There's a reason that companies like, Call of Duty have put, Nicki Minaj and stuff in games, because it makes money. And you got to have a good middle ground, because I know a lot of people don't like left or right when it comes to, we don't want situations like Nicki Minaj in a game, which I don't really care about stuff like that. If someone wants to play Nicki Minaj, let them play Nicki Minaj. I don't personally care myself. I just think it's sad, man. You know, in my personal opinion, Helldivers 2 is a breakout success. Use more opportunities like that. Okay, we learned valuable lessons in Helldivers. Don't make PC people connect to PlayStation things without at least giving them the option of getting something for it. Don't just force them to do it. I'm pretty sure they would have had a lot better chance at, okay, you know, what you're going to do is, we're not going to force you to connect, but we're going to make something really nice that if you do connect, you'll get. And then you would have got a lot more PC people that's like, man, I got to connect it. I got to connect the accounts. I need that. And I think that's realistic. You know, everyone that's on the PlayStation thing gets that, and I think they would have done better. But hey, guys, put in the comment section below what you guys feel. I'm very curious you guys' opinion on this. Like I said, in the grand scheme of things, this doesn't mean anything to me. I don't really play live service games like that in general anymore, especially since I stopped playing Destiny. But I am very sad to see so many jobs, so many games canceled, all because of corporate greed and overreaching, overextending in an industry, a part of the industry, more like it, where you didn't really have much experience in the first place. Also, here real quick, I actually want to bring something up that, you know, my dudes over there at Gamesir, man, they hooked me up with this nice controller, man. It's called the Nova 2 Lite. It's multi-platform, wireless game controller. The good thing I like about this, man, you know, you got a couple good options when it comes to colors. But probably the best thing I liked about this controller is how it felt. You know, everything felt pretty solid. Now, I will give them a little criticism over the D-pad. I feel like this D-pad could be improved a little bit. You know, I was playing some Shinobi with it, and I felt like, you know, it was a little inconsistent sometimes. But besides that, I can honestly say that I enjoyed my time with it. I probably played 2 games. I've been streaming Final Fantasy. That's one of the games I've been playing with it. As you could say, the colors look amazing. It's for the PC, the Switch, iOS, you guys, whatever Apple's thing's called, Android. A lot of aspects, man. The good thing about it, too, is it's only $30. Feels great, and it's $30. You know, I think, you know, Gamesir has always been good sending me. You guys know me. If I didn't like the controller, I wouldn't tell you. But I do enjoy it. It's just that D-pad, man. You know, Gamesir, fix that D-pad. Or, you know, it's just my opinion. I don't know. Maybe people that like D-pads for like fighters, maybe they would like that. But anyway, check it out in the description below. I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I've enjoyed it. And the cool thing about it too is it comes with this nice little carry-on bag, carry-on box, man. I ain't never seen one come with a box like that. But put in the comment section below what you guys feel about this. I'm very curious. You know, you guys enjoy the video, hit that like button. It's always appreciated. We do news, we do reviews, we do opinionated pieces, we do everything over here. But put in the comment section below what you guys feel. And until next time, this is Gaming Addict. I'm out of here. Peace. Follow me on Twitter, and I'm streaming Final Fantasy 1. All that's in the description below. Peace, guys.